Hey y'all, today's video I'm going to install these Firestone airbags into my 2000 Tundra. I've been towing the trailer and the truck sags quite a bit even with nothing in the trailer, and just having a few hundred pounds of tools in the back makes the truck sag. So this is a common solution to solve that issue. There are a lot of other solutions as well, but this is the one that I decided was the best for me because I don't really want to change the leaf packs or the shocks right now, but I do want to do that in the near future. So these are compatible with the new system that I'm going to get, and I'll be able to adjust the ride height. They're also very affordable. Yeah, let's open the box and take a look. Okay, so I haven't opened this package yet, so y'all will be seeing it the same time as me. Let's see what's in here. Let's see, we got all the hardware, zip ties, bracketry, etc., etc. One of the brackets, one of the airbags here. It's very lightweight. I was really surprised with how light this whole package was. Another one of the brackets here. The airlines look like semi-rigid plastic, a 1/4 inch ID, seems like. The rest of the brackets, nothing really too exciting here. It's good. The fewer parts, the better. These guys, more brackets in the last airbag here. Last but not least, we have the instructions, which I need to read. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at these. Okay, so the very first thing you have to do here is prep the airbag. So we're gonna take these little bolt protectors off of here, and we're going to mount this plate. So but before we do that, actually, what we want to do first is install this little air valve, because when the plate is on, you can't actually get this on there. So I did this. I put the plate on first, like the instructions said, and then I couldn't get this on, so I had to take the plate off. So really what you want to do is ignore the instructions, put this on first, tighten it up. There's really not much clearance for that, unfortunately. And I think that's probably tight enough. It's gonna have it facing out for the time being, but I ended up turning it a little bit so I could route the airline, but let's take a look at that in a minute. So then you just kind of feed that over there. You can put that on there like so. It takes a couple of these little bolts here, nuts I mean. Just go ahead and tighten those down. Probably could use a impactor or something like that, but I just really don't like using those power tools for doing this kind of stuff, because if you mess up, you mess it up really bad. So this is going on the passenger side of the truck, and that means that this plate goes on the bottom here. This plate has to go this way because this little hook here wraps around the U-bolts. So we'll see what that looks like in a sec, but this gets mounted underneath here, and there's a different orientation for the driver's side versus the passenger side because they have these two holes here. So take a look at the instructions really quick and see. Okay, so if this is this way, this hole is for the passenger side. So we gotta flip that around and put that on underneath here like so. And that requires just this little bolt here. There's not really anything to align this, but this sits right on the leaf spring, so it can't really back out. So I think if you just get it roughly aligned, it'll be good. Tighten that up. And now we're ready to go install this on the truck. We're back here at the truck, and I've gone ahead and jacked everything up, and I got the tires off, so I have access to everything. And one of the things that I want to fix while I'm doing this are my leaf springs. They're fanning out, so they're not right on top of one another. So in order to fix that, I'm going to lift up the truck so that the weight is off of this side of the axle, and then just kind of loosen the U-bolts and then bang those leaves back in, and then we'll be ready to install the airbag. Definitely not my favorite setup here on a windy day, this thing up, but it is. This jack stand's a little loose, so I got all the weight off of the leaves here, and I have sprayed PB Blaster on these bolts, oh yeah, a while ago. So I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen these up, and I don't have a 1/2-inch drive breaker bar, so this is what I'm using to do this, which is of course not ideal. To get these leaves back in place, I'm just gonna hit it with a hammer, which is kind of what I did last time, and that seemed to work just fine. Side. It's definitely better. So now I'm just gonna go tighten all these back up here, little by little, because you don't want to tighten them unevenly. Now I'll just lower the truck back down on the jack stand and install the airbag. So you just kind of position it like that, and can kind of turn a little bit. So the bottom part here, there's that little hook. I'll show you the hook again. This is the hook. On the other side it's on the back, but it just loops around the U-bolt that holds the leaf springs down to the axle here. So it loops around there, so that positions that right where you want it. And then there's this little bracket that goes underneath that captures the leaf spring. Okay, so gone ahead and jacked this side of the truck up, so this is sitting about where I want it. I want to make sure that it's up against this plate here. That's about where I want it. I'm gonna go ahead and use a 3/8 drill bit to mark where this first hole is gonna go. I'm gonna put a bolt in the first spot. All right, so that's where I want that hole. The other side had a ton of brake lines. Well, not a ton. There was 3 brake lines right behind where that plate is, where the holes are gonna go. So I had to move them out of the way as best I could without disconnecting them. This side has nothing in there, so that is actually really convenient. So I'm just gonna start out with a 1/8-inch drill bit. I got some thread cutting oil here that I'm lubricating the bit with to keep it cool and to make sure it doesn't dull the bit out. Always helps when you're cutting steel, drilling steel, to do that. So I got that pilot hole drilled, and I'm just gonna keep stepping up the drill bit size until I get to a 3/8 hole for that. Nice, and this little 12-volt drill is nice because it can't really pop you in the face like the other one can. I could set the clutch too, which would definitely be a little bit safer, but I kind of like walking around with a black eye, so this is what I do. And then this is the 3/8, the final size here. Okay, ooh, gentle, okay, gentle. There we go. So that's the first one done. And then we can kind of bolt this on, and that will help us with the rest of them. Let's see, another thing to be careful of is all these little bits of metal from drilling. You don't want them to poke your airbag, so be sure to get rid of all that stuff. Well, that sucks. Kind of knew that was going to happen the way that bit was going in there. I'm going to have to yank that out and find another 3/8 bit. All right, that's out. Let's try this again, and let's just be a little softer with the pressure there. Now I have this sort of spiral cut in here that I'm gonna have to very gingerly remove, because this is my last 3/8 bit, and it's really in there. So I'm just gonna leave that for now. Boy. Yeah, it's just kind of doing it with all of them. Okay. Just kind of try to get this. Yeah, okay, so just doing it with all of them. Just trying to push as little pressure as possible on that. I'm gonna get a different angle. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay, so that one's cut through. Just kind of very gingerly press this. Sometimes you can get it to clean out on with putting it in reverse and kind of getting it to push the threads out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this 5/16 bit. And I'm going to kind of waller out the hole a little bit, like that. Try to break them little tabs off. And now I'll come back with this 3/8 bit, and it should be a little easier. Kind of try to. So you can run the bit in reverse and then push it in, and that kind of helps because it won't grab and pull in. So anyway, there they are, drilled. Only lost one bit in the process. And see, the other side I was forced to be really careful because there were brake lines on the other side of the frame. And had I done something like I just did there, I would have destroyed the brake lines. I did move them out of the way as best I could, but they were still in the way. So what I had to do over there was I had to start with the bottom. I had to do 2 holes first, like the 2 top holes with the brake lines pushed to the bottom, and then I had to move the brake lines up and do the 2 bottom holes. So that's how that went. Okay, got that one in there. Just gonna get them all started and then tighten them all down. All right, here we go. Let's find a way to get a wrench on all these and tighten this stuff down. Get on with our lives here. Ow! Oh yeah, that felt good. Good grief. What an absolute pain in the butt. Okay, so that's that. Now, all we have to do is install the air line. What I'm going to do, you just have to push it in here. So you just push it in really firmly, boom, until it makes that little popping sound like that. I'm just going to take this wrench so I can twist this ever so slightly this way. So I don't really need it to be facing straight out. Okay. So this is a thermal protector, but I'm putting it here just to give it a little bit more protection against that edge there. I'm gonna run this through here and follow the frame rail back to where I'm gonna install the fill nozzles. I think I'm just going to install the filler nozzles, filler valves, whatever you wanna call them, right here like this. So I can get access here. And they just go on with a zip tie. I already have the first hose ran back here. I'm just gonna go ahead and push that in. Okay, got that on there. I actually need to tighten everything down here. I'm gonna air up the system. Let's check for leaks before I secure all the lines and everything. All right, let's air this thing up. See what right now there's no pressure, which makes sense. Oh boy. He's got to press a little harder than I expected. What is that? That's 15 PSI. Let's go ahead and add some air to this other side here. (15 PSI, just like the other side. Okay, so that's enough to put pressure, because you're not supposed to have these under 5 PSI. So I just wanted to make sure that there was pressure in the system before I let the weight on them. So let's take a look over here. And so it's pressurized. Let's go around and listen for some leaks. I think everything's solid. I don't hear any leaks, so I'm just gonna go ahead and secure the airline, and then I'll be able to put the tires back on and we'll see how it rides. All right, so as you can see, the back end of the truck is lifted up quite a bit more than the front end. And I got 15 PSI in these bags right now. That pressure may have actually gone up since I put all the weight on the bags. So I'm gonna check the pressure on the bags, and then I'm gonna lower them down to 5 PSI, which is the minimum suggested amount, because the truck is currently completely empty. Okay, the passenger side is showing 15 PSI, and the driver's side is showing 17 PSI. So let's go ahead and let some air out. And let's see what it says now. 6 PSI. Okay, I think that's good enough. And let's see what the level looks like. It's still sloped quite a bit. I suppose that's good if I'm gonna consistently having a load. Yeah, next thing is to see how it handles with the trailer and how it handles on the road. We'll go get the trailer and hook it up and take it on the road. All right, so I've driven the truck for about a week or two now. At this point, I've had it loaded with wood and driven on the highway and everything, and I can't say that the handling is any worse. Can't say it's any better either. Of course, this truck needs a new rack and pinion steering, all new front suspension, new shocks in the back, so I can't expect the handling to be good at all. So not really a good judge as to whether or not the airbags changed the handling. But you can see I got the trailer hitched up to it, and I got like 20, 25 PSI in the airbags, and the truck is riding level. The truck was riding level with the wood in the back, so that's all good. And you can see that the trailer, I need a drop hitch, so a lot of the weight of the trailer is on the tongue. A lot more of it is on the tongue than it should. So anyway, bare minimum pressure in the airbags, and it's leveling everything out, and it feels good. So happy with this job, and Yeah, like and subscribe for more content.